Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about why you must let them go to get them back.
Very, very wise words.
We've been doing this for a long time. And one of the scariest things about going through a breakup is this idea of letting go of your ex and moving forward. Many times when we're in no contact, we don't want to let them go, even in our mind. It feels like if we let them go, that they'll be gone forever, or if we stop caring and they come back, we won't want to repair things, right? You hear people panic about that.
And something that's so common with grief, just in general, and breakups being grief, is that we fear that we're going to forget what our partner sounds like. We're going to forget what they smell like. We're going to forget the memories that the two of you had shared. So this can cut really deep. You know, when we think about living life without our partner, it can be really uncomfortable and it can fill us with a lot of fear.
Yeah, but one of the things that we really see is that when you do let go, it does allow things to change and for you to really get to a good place again. Because if you're holding on tight, it's hard to be in a good place where you're laughing, enjoying, and could attract them again. When you're desperate, when you're so scared about the outcome, even if they do come back, it's hard to like re-attract them because you're so scared that it's not going to go the way you want it to go.
Right. And it's almost like you're holding on to this invisible string. You're just hanging on and you're operating from this place of fear and loss.
Yep.
And so we want to talk to you about this kind of counterintuitive saying, phrase, words of wisdom of letting them go to get them back, because this can really reframe the way that you view the breakup and how you're moving about the breakup.
Yeah, and it's weird because it almost feels like they can somehow sense it when you've let go. Because I tell you, I see it all the time with my calls where they're like, I was on a date with somebody for the first time and I was actually enjoying myself.
Yeah.
And they texted me that night.
Yeah.
They texted me while I was on this date.
Yeah.
I hear stuff like that all the time. What is that? Who knows? I don't have an explanation for it, but it's pretty wild that we see this over and over again.
Right. Yeah, it's a really strange phenomenon. We jokingly call it the force.
The disturbance in the force.
The disturbance in the force. That's right.
You can sense it. You can feel something's off. What is it? It's like they somehow can tell or know that you that you still want them, and then when you truly have not, you've gotten to this place where you're okay without them, and you're happy, and you're interested in someone else. They come running back.
Yeah.
But you can't fake this. This is not fakeable.
No, and this is hard. And letting them go to get them back, it's also letting go of the fear of losing them. That's really what we're talking about. And this fear of losing them can be really damaging to you because it's all an illusion, right? This fear that you're holding on to of, I won't be okay without them. I won't be able to, enjoy life. It's all downhill from here. We can sometimes get really depressive thoughts that our mind is telling us because we're feeling all of that separation anxiety and because we're trying to make meaning of this breakup, but a lot of it is an illusion. We know that you're going to be okay after this breakup. And we really have to hone in on who you are independently, how you can take care of yourself independently, because this is really where you become your most attractive self. And this is also where you can care for yourself the best. It's not just about reattracting your ex, but it's also to build your own confidence for yourself and to be okay and happy with who you are. Much easier said than done.
Yeah.
But talking about the concept of this. So when we're fearing losing them, we're reinforcing to ourselves and to them that we can't handle it and that we don't have the means or the power to take care of ourselves.
That we wouldn't be okay without them.
Right.
And that's very unattractive.
Right.
To look like you can't be okay without somebody.
Yeah. And a lot of times we are putting our ex on this pedestal. We're treating them like no one else could ever match them, that we have to keep pining after this person for happiness. And this is the loop that we get stuck on. And I would say to this, please, as time goes on in your breakup, be more and more and more aware of your thoughts, because this type of depression that happens after a breakup can creep in. We understand in the first week, your mind's going to be telling you all sorts of things. In the first month, your mind is going to be telling you a lot of different stories and narratives, but we have to be more and more aware and able to catch those thoughts and challenge those thoughts when they come up.
Yep.
Many of those thoughts are popping in our mind a million a second, and we have to be willing to redirect them. Wait a minute, I had another thought that, put them on the pedestal. Wait a minute, I had another thought that, said that this is the best person I'll ever get, and now they're gone. Wait a minute, I had this thought that if I lose them, then that means I lose out on a chance of a fulfilling life. So we have to be willing to catch these thoughts and challenge them.
Yep. And then you're going to face other components of the breakup, like the friends and the family, the external things, the external pressures. Friends will tell you things like, oh, just forget about them. There's plenty fish in the sea. And then it just makes you kind of want to defend them, right? So then it's like, how are you letting them go when you're like defending them?
Yeah.
They may be well-meaning because they're trying to protect you and they don't like seeing you hurt. But oftentimes what happens is you just hold on to them more because you got to feel like you got to pull them close with inside of you because you got to defend the world, your partner and the idea of being with them again against the world, right? So
I just want to talk about what it actually looks like to let go. We could be defending our relationship to the people around us. We feel like we have to prove something to other people, to ourselves, to our ex. So what does letting go actually look like?
That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because it can kind of be like this kind of elusive concept of just got to let it go into the wind and move on. You think of Frozen, like just let it go and then it magically just disappears. But letting go can actually be an active thing. We talk a lot about no contact, and with no contact, it's not just about not reaching out to your ex, but it's also about learning the things that make you strong. It's also about learning the things that make you feel good about yourself and increasing your confidence and, moving towards those people that do support you.
Sure. And letting go could also be allowing life to play out the way that it's meant to without trying to force it in every which way, right? Like, I did a call with somebody today that I've done a lot of calls with, and he was seeing quite a bit of progress with his ex and turning it around, but it's been kind of stagnant and stale. And he's kind of like stressed out and worried about it. And I'm like, well, look, this is allowing you more time to be doing the creative healing course, right? Because he's only in like halfway through. And so I'm like, as we're talking about the conversations, I'm like, look, here are some things that are coming up in section 9 and 10 that are really relevant to what's likely going to happen in the next time or as this starts to escalate. So as you kind of are okay with not hearing for her or not getting the progress right now, it's an opportunity. This could be a good thing for you in the long run and this relationship because you don't want her to come back too soon. They've been together for years. He wants to make sure, or he needs to make sure that she's really ready to come back and stay. And so if that takes longer, that's okay. Let that go that it's not happening as fast as he wants it to. Don't try and force it or manipulate it. Keep focusing on the personal growth, and that will pay off when she's showing a higher interest level again.
Right. And I would also add that I think letting go is also welcoming different realities, because in our mind in the breakup, sometimes we can view it in very black and white terms. Either they come back or they don't. We work it out or they don't. And letting go is also welcoming many different outcomes to happen and that could happen. So that means maybe we do work it out, but maybe it looks different than what I thought. Maybe we don't work it out, but it also looks different than what I thought.
Yeah.
So being more open to the different possibilities.
Life rarely goes the way we think it's going to go.
Right.
Even if you do get back with your ex, it's very likely going to go in a different way than you thought it would.
Right. And the more we're willing to accept and be open to these different possibilities, then the more at ease we feel. So it can be a really difficult thing to do, and it does take time. Everyone moves at their own pace. So if you don't feel like you're even close to letting go, many of you are afraid of letting go, and I understand that, because you think, well, I don't want to stop wanting my ex. I love this person so much, I can't even fathom not wanting to be with them.
Yes, I've had so many people tell me that. I'm afraid to stop caring
Yeah.
because it's like if I stop caring and then they come back, I won't want them again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy that you want them for so long that even the idea of not wanting them kind
Yeah,
of gets
it's
scary.
strange. It's strange. We almost like fear ourselves and fear the process, just the natural process of the breakup. And the more we resist sometimes, then the harder it becomes. There's that analogy of the Chinese finger trap. I don't know if you've heard of that. I don't know if you guys know what a Chinese finger trap is. My parents used to come home with all sorts of little rinky-dink toys from like those machines. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You put a quarter
You
in
put
and
the
you
finger,
twist it.
you
Yeah.
put your fingers together.
Yeah. So it's a trap where you put your fingers together in order to release it and get your fingers out. But what's fun about it is when you put your finger in the trap and you try to pull and pull, it just makes it tighter.
Yeah.
So then you're like struggling. And so this is the whole concept with letting things go. You know, the more we resist, the more we're like, oh no, what's gonna happen? I'm so afraid. I don't know what the future looks like. The more it starts to impact us and grow and become scarier. But if we lean into it and say, okay, what can I learn here? What happened here? What am I going through? What am I afraid will happen? Let me be curious and see what that looks like. The more we lean in, the more we relieve ourselves from that pressure too. So it takes time, and you know, the key is to let them go in a way where you feel like this is healthy. Some of us can be like, oh yeah, I'm over it, but then you're really not. Right?
Yeah.
So there could be like that opposite end where you're kind of creating this facade and saying that you're moved on, saying that you don't care, avoidance, when you really do deep down inside.
Yep.
So it's best to, you know, be authentic with where you're at and not to resist so much, but become curious.
You'll find that life is always going to be filled with surprises, and trying to force your breakup to turn around in the way that you're wanting to or thinking that it has to, it very rarely goes that way. Even in the situations where people do get back together, you think, oh, I was supposed to see him at this concert, and if I don't see him at this concert, or they're supposed to be in town for this 3-day window, and if I don't see them on those 3 days, it's not going to turn.
Yeah.
It usually, however your mind is playing out these stories, it rarely goes that way. Focus on the personal growth. Focus on what went wrong. What did you do to contribute? What are the skills that you can learn to be a better partner? How can you be more confident? How can you heal your attachment issues? And that way, you're not going to try and force things. You'll be naturally attractive to your ex, and they will magnetically be attracted to you again because you're not trying to manipulate.
Right. Yeah. And life has a funny way of dealing with things. So sometimes when we are 100% sure of something, life just has a funny way of humbling us. So remind yourself of that the more we try to gain control, the less control we have. So we might as well sit back and watch the show.
True confidence is being able to handle that uncertainty. And that is so much of what we're trying to teach on the channel, especially in like the creative healing course, where you're learning to be okay with uncertainty and being attractive in those challenging times where you are scared.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And you learn to be more confident and not so scared.
Right. And we're all in this together. You know, Craig and I, we share our own stories from our own, you know, previous breakups and things that we've been through because we know what it's like to go through it, and everything feels so real when you're in it. And so we empathize with that. We're all human. We're all trying to, you know, get better at dealing with whatever life throws at us.
All right. Hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Let us know in the comment section. If you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth,
And I'm Coach Victoria.
and we will talk with you soon.